Laura the Life Coach, with my co-host and influencer,
Erica DeLong. Thank you for joining us today.
We're really glad that you're here because we're going to help you have more awareness.
I mean, like, what are those steps to finally getting to that self-awareness that you're always coaching about? Like, what is it that we need to know for everybody that's watching right now?
Okay, so there's 5 different principles that you can follow. So you're going to notice your thoughts.
Okay.
Notice your feelings. Who are your friends? How are you with your intimate relationships? And what frustrates you? That's 5. So write those down, or we can always
stay with us. We'll keep you informed the whole time.
So those are going to be the 5 bases of you learning who you are, not how you are. So you want to know self-awareness. You want to find out who you are so that you can live a happier life, so that you can live authentically. I mean, I don't mean to sound cliche, but really that's what it looks like. So let's talk about your thoughts today. Let's just stay there.
The first, we'll dumb it down to thoughts.
Yeah.
What is it that we need to know? Somebody like myself, because you've been my life coach for years now. What is it that I need to know? When you say know your thoughts, what does that mean?
Well, knowing your thoughts means, when you're thinking about stuff and your mind is just running on a
autopilot.
Yeah. Right? Like you're just all those thoughts. Where are they going? What are they saying to you all day? Do you even know what you thought about an hour ago when you were sitting there? Because we're always thinking something. We're always having some dialogue. We need to understand what that dialogue is.
Okay, so know your thoughts. And how do you get to that point where you know your thoughts? You write it down. What are some things that we could do to know your thoughts?
I love that. Journal. I'm so sorry I said that because
I'm not a journaler.
Yeah, everybody kind of gets like, I'm not journaling. But we're going to have to really be able to recognize what is happening in our lives. And the only way we're going to do it is if we write it down or type it in your computer.
Or you could do an easy version like myself. I have the notes on my phone. I go straight to that and I'll type like maybe the highlights, because life is busy for everybody. You're juggling work, kids, trying to pay bills. And so you just jot down those keywords throughout the day, and that really helps so that when you go back, you can maybe journal or just have a rolling list that you can look at those patterns throughout the weeks.
Right, so when I first told you, I really want you to start journaling, what came up for you when you thought about journaling? So here are thoughts.
She's crazy. I'm not going to journal. That's what I thought. No, and I never think you're crazy, but I was just like, I don't know if I'll have the time. I don't know if I have the time for that. I feel busy. So journaling is not something that I want to sit down and spend an hour writing each day. It's just not going to work out for my schedule.
It doesn't have to be for an hour, and you don't have to be a writer. You don't have to put it in paragraphs and specific punctuations and write. I don't care what it looks like. It's your journal. It's not anybody else's. No one else has to see it, right? So don't think journaling when you were back in school, I want 1 full page. I don't need a full page. If you want to write 10 pages, God bless, but you don't have to do that.
Okay, now when do you write down your thoughts? Is this something when you first wake up, or when somebody upsets you at your work, or maybe your mom is nagging you? When do you start journaling those thoughts? And is it positive thoughts or all thoughts?
All thoughts, great questions.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a few pointers on what you could be journaling about, and we can kind of go over some of those.
Okay.
So you can ask yourself, do you judge other people? Are you judgmental?
I try not to, but I think we all do. You guys may be judging us right now by how we look on camera, or maybe I judge when I see on Instagram a girlfriend of mine constantly posting selfies. I'm like, hey, she does my selfies, And I know that it's really just what my thoughts are about it. I shouldn't judge her, but I do, and I don't mean to.
So let me ask you this. When you take your selfies,
hundreds of them.
Do you think,
but I don't post them.
Do you think, I'm taking too many selfies. I shouldn't really be putting so many selfies on here.
Yeah, so I'll take them in the privacy of my own home or in the car when nobody's looking, but I don't post them because I don't want people to think, well, she's not humble. She's so self-absorbed, so I don't end up posting those. But if I have a good hair day, I'm gonna document it. I just don't want everybody else to see it.
So there's the judgment. When you judge others, you end up judging yourself. I'm sorry, but you end up judging yourself. She judged herself for how many. If she wants to put 1,000 selfies out there or whatever, just put 1,000 selfies out there. We don't have to look at all of them. I probably would, but so that's just a really good point. So
when I see somebody else do that, just know that I'm only critiquing myself when I see that, because that's her life, that's her, that might make her feel so happy, and that helps her with her confidence. So we really don't know their story. So you can't judge when you don't know their story.
That's right. It's just the thoughts that you have that you're making up in your head. And we can get into more of what that looks like another day. So another one is, do you spend more time thinking about the past, or do you spend more time thinking about the future?
Personally, I'm a future girl. I like to think of the future, but then you always get questioned, well, what about the now? You're missing out the now. Like your kids, you're thinking about what they're going to do in college, but enjoy them while they're young, for instance. So how do you overcome that?
Well, we can always reminisce about the past, which is beautiful. Reminiscing is a good, happy word, right? Like we just reminisce about the wonderful things that have happened. And we'll talk about the present moment in a second, and then you can think about your future. Well, when we talk about, we don't want to rush your life away, but it would be really wonderful if you wanted to visualize or plan.
And manifest, is that a good word?
Yes,
So manifesting your
yes.
future of what you want and those goals you want to achieve.
Right.
Okay.
Not manifesting, oh my God, I know when I go down outside, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen, blah, blah. That's living in the future in a really like negative space. So when we wanna think about your future and you wanna manifest what you want in your future, be impeccable with your word. Make it good. You get to choose those moments. You get to choose those words.
And each day is a new day. So each day is a new day. But now, what do you say to me? So, for instance, my husband is very much living in the now, and I always fantasize as a Pisces. I'm always thinking and dreaming about the future. And he's like, hey, come on back over to this side. You're thinking too far ahead. What do you say to that?
You know, it's really up to you. It really is.
I'm like, let me do my dreaming.
Yeah, let her do her dreaming. She's just dreaming. It's all great. But the only little caveat is when you're dreaming that far out, you could be attaching some expectations to that.
Okay.
And if whatever's supposed to be, whatever you're going to manifest, we don't know when it's going to happen. We just have to trust it will. You'll find your happy medium. But I really believe that journaling is going to really help you. And it always will, and I'm sure you've heard it a million times, and maybe hearing this today is telling you something. Maybe you were meant to be here with us and to hear that, because maybe it's your time to do that.
Okay, so journaling, writing down your thoughts, both good and bad.
Right. And what kind of attitude do you adopt?
Okay, the attitude.
Mm-hmm. Like, do you say, I'm just gonna see what happens and I'm gonna let it be and accept it? Or are you like, I'm gonna make sure that this gets done just like this, and it better get done like that. Like I need to be just right, like type A kind of personality.
Ooh, I would be in bad shape if that was me, because I'll make a list every day with intent to do something, and it never works out that way, you know? So I don't think I follow in the footsteps of the OCD person
Right.
that needs to get it done or it's bad.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, or even if you did like put something down that you wanted it to happen, but it didn't go the way you wanted, you can't change it anyway. I have to just tell you a really quick one. So I had someone that was playing a sport. It happened to be tennis, and she missed a point to like lose this big championship thing, right? And she called me and she was like, I've been like 4 hours thinking about this shot. 4 hours. So I said to her, well, go on back there and change it. We were actually texting. She was like, what? I was like, go back and replay the point. She's like, in my mind? In my thoughts I'm supposed to do it? I'm like, no, go back. Go back to the place and go replay the point. Like, do I call
She
the
was
girls?
cussing you when you said that to
Oh,
her.
not
She was
happy.
cussing you.
She was. Because she ended up calling me. Because I was like, no, go back. She's like, am I supposed to call the people? Like, so she wants me to tell her what to do. And I was like, we don't tell you what to do. But I was just making a point with her. She calls me like frustrated. What do you mean? I was like, well, go back and play the point. Why can't you go back and play the point? She's like, well, I can't go back and play the point. I was like, exactly.
So now what do
Exactly.
you do with that energy? Don't make it negative.
You can't go back. You can be
Right.
upset. You can be upset. You can be sad. Don't unpack there for 4 hours of your life. You can't go and change. You get that next moment to make it, all right, that really sucked, and I know it's going to suck. I'm going to feel like it sucked a long time. I'll do something different next time, but I'm going to just move on. Look at
But
something.
that's easier said than done. So if you
Oh,
have a
yeah.
reoccurring problem, like say you and your spouse have issues and it's daily, you keep thinking these negative patterns, then what do you say to that person? Because they're stuck in that pattern. Like, how do you get out of that, of those negative thoughts?
You're probably going to need a little bit of help.
Call her.
You can call me, but definitely if you feel like you've tried a lot of things, it's not working, and you're stuck, then you know you've got to seek some help. So
Writing down those thoughts, and you're seeing the patterns unfold, you know, throughout the days that you've journaled, then maybe you can do some changing to see how the reaction is different.
yeah,
at
I'm
your
going to go get
household.
something. So hang on a second.
Okay.
So we're back.
All right.
So what can you do with
Oh.
those thoughts?
Okay. She's breaking out the cards.
Affirmation cards.
Okay.
But these affirmation cards, you could just kind of, and pick one or whatever, and they can feel really uncomfortable. When I started doing them, I was like, love myself. I mean, 6 years ago, New Yorker, I was like, love myself. I'm going to talk to myself in the mirror and go, love yourself. It wasn't working. But you know what? I made myself do it until I felt more comfortable doing it, and it actually really helped. And when you're uncomfortable, I love it. Because what do I say when you're uncomfortable?
It means that there's growth there.
You
And I
have-
am so uncomfortable in life at sometimes, and she's like, that's great, there's growth there. So, but you
gets
need
annoyed.
that person to, kind of
Yeah.
help guide you through that.
Here, we're gonna have Erica pick a card real
Okay,
quick.
all right.
Hopefully you care and you'll stick around with us to see what she's gonna pick. So pick a card,
All right.
any card.
I'm feeling this blue one right here.
All right, so read it, and this would be
Okay.
something that it would sound like.
Divine wisdom, guide me. All right. I am guided through this day in making the right choices. Divine intelligence continuously guides me in the realization of my goals. I am safe. So
Yeah,
there you
right?
go. Yes.
And if you take it with you and say it a few times a day, you will begin to believe it. Your thoughts will begin to change slowly, but you're just going to be patient about that and make that happen.
Okay.
And if you want to, these cards are the Power Thought cards by Louise Hayes, and we'll have a link to purchasing them if you want to try these out down on the bottom, because
Yes.
we're also going to give you a digital download, 10 ways to become more self-aware.
Laura's life hacks, and let me tell you, I've gone through many of her worksheets, and they're all beneficial because you can kind of see where you are on these worksheets and see maybe what you need to work on, what you're doing great at, and
she
it,
was
it
really good
helps.
at doing them. Like, you got to do them.
You gotta do your homework.
Yeah, you got to do homework. You got to
And
do the
it's
work.
free homework, so that's
Yeah.
great.
Think about it really quick. If you go to the gym and you want to have a certain body type, if you don't do the work, you think it's going to happen? No. If you do the work today,
Can't
and you
tell
go,
me that, but-
and you go back 3 weeks later, you'll see a little difference. Maybe you'll know what you're doing there. So it's about consistency, and then all of a sudden it just becomes natural, and you don't have to do it as often. And that's what we have to tell you about self-awareness and about your thoughts. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, and don't forget to do that homework, and then maybe don't forget also, starting right now, put notes in your phone to start channeling those thoughts, thinking about your thoughts, or you can get you a notepad from like TJ Maxx or whatever it might be to start writing down your thoughts so you can see a pattern over
Yeah.
time.
You know what I'll do is I'll also add some journals that I love in the bottom of the description where you'll see these things. And one last thing. If you're interested in having your questions answered by us, send them to us.
And we'll keep you anonymous too.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
email us at team@trianglelifecoaching.com. So it's team, T-E-A-M, @trianglelifecoaching.com, and send us your questions about something you'd like to be life coached on and help with.
Absolutely.
Anonymous, as you said.
Yes.
And if we choose your question, you're going to get a free 30-minute laser coaching session.
Which is what? What is laser coaching?
Laser coaching is getting, straight to the point of a specific area right in that moment. We get you on and we have a telephone call in 30 minutes. They're very, very helpful. I do them with lots of
Yes,
companies.
they are.
So, well, thanks again. We just wanted to add that, and that's our 2 cents.